Okay, my name is Laura Teclemariam. I want to give a shout out to class of 2018 if you're in the stands. Awesome. I would love to ask 2 questions to start us off. Please raise your hand if you are on your journey, your career journey. Raise your hand. Okay, I see you. Some hands here. Okay, and then my second question is, please raise your hand if you've reached your destination. Okay, there's some hands. I see those hands. Okay, I see you. All right. Well, with that, I'd love to tell you my story. Is that okay? Awesome. So, I was born in Oakland, California, and raised in Vallejo, California, a Bay Area native. I was raised by a single mother who was an immigrant, came here to America, and she worked double shifts to take care of my sister and I, graveyards and all. I grew up wearing Payless Keds and Kmart clothes. For those of you who don't know what either of those stores are now, they were basically low-income clothes. And I loved watching Saturday morning cartoons so much. I mean, back in the days, in case you don't know, you had to wake up at 7 a.m. to watch cartoons. And like the whole U.S. was glued to all your kids were glued to the TV at 7 a.m. I also loved to play video games. And my mom saw that spark so much so that she worked hard to make sure that if I got straight A's every semester, she would give me a video game. So, I'm going to tell you my story about the road to opportunity. Obsessed with the journey, not the destination. These are the memories of my childhood. I loved these shows. I loved playing these games. Every morning I religiously woke up to go to them. But then when I thought about it, there was something inside me at 8 years old that I said, I'm frustrated. And I couldn't quite figure out what I was frustrated about with the things I loved so much. I was frustrated that I didn't see myself in these stories. I didn't see my mother, who was working 2-hour shifts, in this narrative. I didn't see my sister, my friends, my neighbors, but I loved these stories. And so I took that on with me, trying to figure out why I loved these stories, but I was so frustrated. I went on to graduate from University of California, Irvine, and I started developing a reason of why I felt so frustrated. And I tried to really hone in on this thesis. And I said, I think it's what we see impacts our imagination. Each of you have an imagination. Each of you have been influenced by what you see. That influence then changes the way you think. And the way you think changes the systems that you build and impact. So for example, academic, we're all here at Haas, right? We're all here. Some of you are impacting academic institutions. Some of you are impacting financial institutions. Some of you are impacting judicial institutions. And it all started when you were young as a kid, waking up at 7 a.m., watching those cartoons or playing those games. And so, fast forward, it's 2017. I just decided to go to MBA school. I'm a level 1 senior manager. This was 5 years ago. And I said, okay, what do I need to do to figure out my career? And I wanted to map out my journey, but I realized there were so many destinations that I could go. And so I said, you know what? Let me not try to write out a linear career path. I'm going to write out a nonlinear map and place all the destinations I could go. I was a senior manager at the time, and I was like, maybe one day I'll be CEO, maybe one day I'll be a director, maybe one day I'll go into tech, maybe one day I'll stay in entertainment. Maybe one day I'll work at Netflix. And so with that, what I'd say is I learned that journeys are not linear, they're nonlinear, and they can take you to multi-destinations. All right, so I'm at EA, and I get to work on Star Wars franchise. And this is a game that went on to make hundreds of millions of dollars per year. So I'm sitting in R&D in the development room, and I want to play this game, and it's a battler. You need to have 5 characters. I could not even create a battle squad with 5 female characters. And so yet again, another moment, I don't see myself in this story. How can I change this? So, if you know Star Wars and you're a fan of Star Wars, the canon's very hard to change. But we eventually changed which characters we used so that we could make an all-female squad. So great, I've made it. I've changed the biggest franchise at EA, well known. I've made it to my destination. I'm done. I'm here. I've arrived. Or have I? Have I made it to that final destination? Fast forward again, I'm at Netflix, and it's Saturday morning, 7 a.m., and I'm sitting now with my 3 daughters, and we're watching our cartoons. I now am the director of product of animation and control product for all animation at Netflix. And as we're watching these cartoons, my 5-year-old, who I had in the MBA program, says to me, "Mommy, look, I see this character. This is me. Did you make this for me? And that's you, Mommy." And for the first time, I finally saw my story. I finally saw my friends. I finally saw my neighbors, my classmates. And at that moment, I said, I think I'm done, right? I've made it. This has been a long journey in the making since those 7 a.m. cartoons that my mom worked so hard for me to provide for me. I've made it to my destination. Well, or at least I thought. So then I went on and said, but what if I could impact more than millions or hundreds of millions? What if there's billions of people out there that I could impact? What if I could impact the way people imagine how you get jobs? Or if I could impact the way you sell products? Or if I could impact the customers you get? Or who you hire? Or who hires you? What if I could change imagination across 8 billion people across the world? What if? So I went to LinkedIn, and I went and took a position to where I now own the vision for profile and messaging. And I serve billions of members. And so here's my point. Careers are long. Life is full of destinations. And so I'd love to end where I began, which is asking you 2 questions. Are you on your journey, or have you arrived to your destination? With that, I'm obsessed with my journey and not the destination. Thank you for hearing my story.